ממתת עמוד ב' 7 lines from the bottom, יתיב רבי זירא, אחורי דרב גידל. Sean, you ready?
Yep.
יתיב רבי זירא, אחורי דרב גידל. רבי זירא was sitting behind רב גידל. ויתיב רב גידל כמי דרב הונא, and רב גידל was sitting in front, facing רב הונא. ויתיב וכאמר, and he said, טעה ולא הזכיר של שבת, a person made a mistake and didn't mention יוצא והחליצנו in ברכת המזון, אומר ברוך שנתן שבתות למנוחה לעמו ישראל. He would say this to supplement the missing of יוצא והחליצנו. באהבה, לעמו לישראל באהבה, לאות ולברית ברוך מקדש השבת. That's how we would end off the ברכה. אמר לי, מן אמרה, who said this? Who taught you this? He says, רב. הדר יתי וכאמר, טעה ולא הזכיר של יום טוב. A person didn't mention יום טוב ונעלה ויבוא. אומר ברוך שנתן ימים טובים לעמו ישראל, לשמחה ולזיכרון. ברוך מקדש ישראל והזמנים. You would end off by saying ברוך מקדש הזמנים. This is the replacement for a person who messes up and doesn't say יעלה ויבוא in ימים טובים. אמר לי, מן אמרה? He says, who said this? Answers the same answer. רב taught me this. הדר יתי וכאמר, טעה ולא הזכיר של ראש חודש. אומר ברוך שנתן ראשי חודשים לעמו ישראל לזיכרון, ולא ידענה, היא אמרה בשמחה, היא אמר בשמחה, היא לא אמר בשמחה. היא חתים בה, היא לא חתים בה. If he mentions the Hashem's kingship, if he doesn't mention the Hashem's kingship, היא דידי, היא דרבי. He didn't know if it was from himself who taught this, or from his rabbi. He didn't know if he heard this from himself, or from his rabbi.
What is, אמר, Vasimcha, Amar Vasimcha, Kilo, what does that mean? Like,
I didn't know, that's why I didn't say.
Okay, alright.
That's why I skipped, didn't translate
yeah,
that part.
that's confusing, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, Rabbi, I don't know everything. Gidal bar Minyumi, Havi Kai Kamei de Rav Nachman. Gidal came in front of Rav Nachman. Ta'a Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman made a mistake in Berkat Hamazon. V'hadar larosh, and he went back to the beginning of Berkat Hamazon. Amar le, my tama avid. Mar, Hachi, Master, why did you do this? He told him. He asked Rav Nachman, why did you go back to the beginning? Amar le, Amar Rav Shila, Amar Rav Shila says in the name of Rav, Ta'a chozer larosh. A person made a mistake in Berkat Hamazon, you go back to the beginning. Ve'amar Rav Huna, but he says no. Rav Huna says in the name of Rav, Ta'a omer Baruch Shanatan. Baruch Shanatan Lamo Yisrael, like the blessing that you would substitute it with. So according to one opinion, in the name of Rav, both of them, by the way, are saying it in the name of Rav. One is saying Rav Shila Amar Rav, one says Rav Shila said in the name of Rav, and one is saying Rav Huna in the name of Rav. So, Lav Itmar Allah, Amar Rav Menashe, Bar Tachlifa, Amar Rav, he says in the name of Rav, Lo Shanu Ela. When Rav said that you go back to the beginning and one said no, you say the substitute Barcha, Rav is saying, Lo Shanu Ela Patach Be'ato Ve'amitiv. אבל, אלא שלא פתח בעתו והמיטיב, אבל פתח בעתו והמיטיב חוזר לראש. Rav says, yeah, you're right, you have to, there's two arguments, and one is saying no, but Rav said this, and one is saying no, Rav said this, he's saying no. Rav said this in a case where you didn't start a tov והמיטיב. Meaning if you're in a case where you didn't start a tov והמיטיv, you would say the pasuk that, because you didn't finish off by saying Hashem's name, and you didn't start a tov והמיטיv, you could say this substitute tefillah to supplement Anything
you missed, right?
Yeah, but if you said already Atov Amitiv, meaning you already said Hashem, you ended off the Barcha by Hashem's name, so you have to Chozer Larosh. So that's what Rav that's what they say. Rav holds like that. Chozer Larosh. So it's not a machloket between, Rav said this. No, Rav said in a case where you didn't start Atov Amitiv. Amar Avidi Baravin Amar Rav, Amram Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel Ta'a velo הזכיר של ראש חודש. בתפילה, in a person who didn't say יעלה ויבוא in עמידה, מחזירים אותו. בברכת המזון אין מחזירים אותו. in ברכת המזון we see you don't go back. אמר לרב אבין לרב אמרם, מה ישנה תפילה ומה ישנה ברכת המזון? What's the difference between תפילה and what's the difference between ברכת המזון? אמר לי, אף לדידי קשה לי. You're right, for me it's also a question. I also had the same question. I didn't understand why by ברכת המזון you don't go back and by תפילה you do go back. ושאליתי לרב נחמן, and I asked רב נחמן, ואמר לי מיני דמר שמואל, and he told me he never heard the answer, לא שמי לי, he never heard the answer in the name of Rav Shmuel. Meaning, so he also had the question. Rav Nachman also didn't know the answer. But he told me, Ela nechaze anan, let's figure it out ourselves. Me and you try to understand why by Birkat Hamazon you wouldn't go back. Tefillah, and by Tefillah you do go back, and by Amidah you do go back. Tefillah de chavai. Tefillah is chovah. Machzirin oto, since you have a chovah to say the Amidah 3 times a day, So you would go back on it. ברכת מזונה, דאי ביי אכיל, אי ביי לא אכיל, אין מחזירין אותו. Since by food you don't have to eat bread. מצטערים. רצו לעשות את הדף שלו. Since by food you have an option whether to eat, whether to not eat, אין מחזירין אותו. Then you wouldn't have to go back since you have no chiyuv to eat bread. אלא מעטה שבתות, what about שבתות וימים טובים, דלא סגי, דלא אכיל, והשבתות הם ימים טובים, you have a mitzvah, סעודת מצווה like you said, you have a mitzvah to eat. So what would you do in that case? You cannot eat bread on שבתות and ימים טובים, so you have a chiyuv to eat it. So it's like the same case of tefillah, because tefillah you have chiyuv to pray 3 times a day. Hachinami deitai hadar. So too, if you would make a mistake there, you would have to go back to the Rosh. Amar le'in, you're right. By the reasoning that we're saying that only by chiyuv you need to go back, you would have to go back by Shabbat and Yom Tov. Damar Rabbi Shila Amar Rav Ta'ah chozer la'Rosh, because Rabbi Shila says in the name of Rav, somebody who made a mistake goes back to the beginning. Ve'amar Ravuna Amar Rav Ta'ah Omer, but we have another opinion of Rav. Amar Ravuna Amar Rav. Ravuna also said in the name of Rav Ta'ah Omer Baruch Shenatan. You say the supplementing bracha. La vitmar ala, lo shanu. It's not we're not arguing. Ela shelo patach be'atov ve'amitiv. That's only when he didn't start atov ve'amitiv. But patach be'atov ve'amitiv chozer la'rosh. The person who started off and said atov ve'amitiv goes back to the beginning. At kama mezamnim. Until how much?
What's the shiur?
What's the shiur that a person needs to do? Zimun. Lemembra de Rabbi Meir, according to the Mishnah. Lemembra de Rabbi Meir chashiv le'kezayit. Rabbi Meir holds that you need to have a shur of a kezayit in order to be doing zimun in berkat hamazon. Rabbi Yehuda kebeitza, and Rabbi Yehuda holds no, you need a kebeitza. Ve'ipcha shamina lehu. We heard the opposite in our Mishnah, a different Mishnah. Detnan v'chen mi sheyatza. The Mishnah says v'chen mi sheyatza miYerushalayim v'niskar shaya be'ado basar kadosh. Im avar tzufim. If he already passed the ir tzufim, which is already far away from Har Habayit, meaning he's really far away, he can't even see Bet HaMikdash anymore. Then over there, so we don't make him go back because it's already chaval. He walked already far, so he can burn it over there. Ve'im lav, and if he's closer, chozer v'sofo lifnei habira me'atzab ha'ma'aracha. He needs to go back to the Bet HaMikdash and burn it over there. And ad kama hem chozrim. What's the shiur that makes you go back?
That's what we're comparing.
Now we're comparing. Yeah, ad kama hem chozrim. Rabbi Meir omer ze v'ze kebeitza. Rabbi Meir says.
Both cases are by kabitza.
Yeah, you need at least a kebeitza shiur. Rabbi Yehuda omer ze v'ze bekezayit. Amar Rabbi Yochanan.
So you're saying somebody would burn a piece of meat like this, bro?
If you had a shiur of a kebeitza, we'll see what that shiur is right now. Rabbi Yochanan says mukhlefet hashita. Rabbi Yochanan says no. The opinion should be flipped. Abaye Amar leolam lo teipuch le teipuch. Abaye says forever you shouldn't switch. Don't tell me that they're switched. Rather, it's the same opinions that we read. Hacha bekrai pligi by our Mishnah that holds by Rabbi Meir holds kezayit and Rabbi Yehuda holds kebeitza. Pligi Rabbi Meir sav bepligi bekrai pligi. They argue on the pasuk. Rabbi Meir savar ve'achalta ve'savata. נכון? ואכלת זו אכילה, וסבת זו שתייה. So when it says, the pasuk says ואכלת, it's referring to the eating aspect. And when the pasuk says וסבתה, it doesn't refer to being satisfied from food, rather satisfied from wine. So therefore, אכלת is only one shiur. And one shiur says the ואכילה בkezayit, and אכילה is only by kezayit. Meaning eating is only by kezayit. ורבי יהודה סבר לא, ואכלת וסבתה is one thing. Both of them are referring to the aspect of eating. So אכילה שיש בה שביעה, you need a food, you need a eating that has satiating in it. ואיזו זו, and which eating has satiating in it, you need at least a shiur of a kebeitza. Hatam, and by the pasuk, by burning the meat, בסבר הפליגי, over there they argue by logic. רבי מאיר סבר חוזרתו כתומתו, you go back by the tumah of it. מה תומתו בקביצה? To make something to make, you need at least a kebeitza, a shiur of it. אף חוזרתו כביצה. ורבי יהודה סבר no. רבי יהודה holds חזרתו כאיסורו. You go back by the shiur that makes it איסורו. מה איסורו בכזית? אף חוזרתו בכזית. What makes it the איסור of it? You need at least a shiur of a כזית. So too, to go back you need a shiur of a כזית. נו משנה. כיצד מזמנים? בשלושה אומר נברך. By 3 people we say נברך. בשלושה והוא, by 3 in him, אומר ברכו. בעשרה אומר נברך אלוקינו, שאכלנו משלו, נכון? ברוך, we say נברך אלוקינו. בעשרה והוא, what if there's 10 in him, including him, so 11, והוא אומר ברכו. He says also ברכו, bless. 11 ו-11 רובו ב-100, הוא אומר נברך השם אלוקינו, נברך השם אלוקינו. ב-100 והוא, by 11 and 100, till 99, till 100, he says, he says נברך השם אלוקינו. ב-100 והוא, by 101 already, אומר ברכו, again ברכו. ב-1000 הוא אומר נברך להשם אלוקינו, אלוקי ישראל. That's the new thing. Instead of saying like Baruch Elokeinu, he would say Baruch Elokeinu, like it's a larger zimun. ב-1000 והוא, by 1,000 plus him, אומר ברכו. ברובו, by 10,000, אומר נברך להשם אלוקינו, אלוקי ישראל, אלוקי צבאות, יושב הקירובים, על המזון שאכלנו. ברובו והוא, by 10,000 and him, so 10,001, אומר ברכו. So every time that there's the shiur plus 1, you always change it up by saying ברכו. כעניין, ברכו. כעניין שהוא מברך in the thing that he blesses, כך עונים. By the exact words that he says, that's how they're going to answer. אחריו. ברוך השם אלוקינו, אלוקי ישראל, אלוקי צבאות, ויושב הקירובים על המזון שאכלנו, that's how they're going to answer. רבי יוסי הגלילי אומר, לפי רוב הקהל הם מברכים. By the רוב הקהל, that's the way you're going to bless. שנאמר, במקלות ברכו אלוקים, השם ממקור ישראל. אמר רבי עקיבא says no. מה מצינו בבית הכנסת? What do we find בבית הכנסת? אחד מרובים ואחד מעוטים, whether you have 10 people in מניין, whether you have 10,000 people in מניין, you always say ברכו את השם. You always keep it consistent. רבי ישמעאל אומר, ברכו את השם המבורך. You say ברכו את השם המבורך. ברוך הבא.
אמן ואמן.